Hello and welcome to This Is Not What I Meant, a show where your host Anudeep Patel talks and most probably trips about the subtext in TV shows, daily life with some facts mixed in so it becomes a little legit. The show is not presented by an expert. All opinions expressed on this podcast are my own and do not represent any entity whatsoever, and that is what I meant. Enjoy the show. Okay, so last time I talked about Osamu Tezuka, the father of anime, and his Astro Boy, along with the anime version of Ramayana and definitely the irritating yet endearing kids Shinchan and Nobita from Doraemon. Of course, any episode of This Is Not What I Meant is incomplete without theories, and so Once Upon an Anime had a couple of those, the theories, and it had theories about how Shinchan came to be a show and how Doraemon ended. Or it didn't. I don't know. It's just a theory, right? So, yeah, it sounds like an obituary for some reason. But do check the episode out. It's called Once Upon an Anime. And I talked about, the shows that I used to watch as kids. So the main reason I wanted to do an episode on anime on my podcast was that there are these couple of shows that I just love. I just love them. And, I thought about their themes and plot lines, and they're just so ingenious. And so ingenious. They're so ingenious. Yep. And, I thought it would make up for a good episode in my mind. Like, it did make up for a good episode in my mind. And I didn't know that it would become, a series like this. And, this particular episode that I wanted to do in the first place would become the fourth anime episode here on This Is Not What I Meant. But here we are. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching these animes and I just wanted to talk about them. And I'm pretty sure that, yes, you all weebs out there, you'll be like, girl, you haven't seen the shit. And yeah, okay, I haven't seen I have to retire the word shit. But, I haven't seen your personal favorite shows, but enough about being a people pleaser, being an audience pleaser. This is my podcast. I'm going to the bitch is going to be all up in the handful of anime that she has seen. But yeah, this take is going to be a little different. Instead of doing like a 50-minute, compilation of all the shows that I, have seen and wanted to talk about, I'm not going to do a compilation of that as I did with the Cartoon Network theories, the part 2 where I talked about Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Johnny Bravo, Mr. Bean, Powerpuff Girls, Dragon Tales, Courage the Cowardly Dog, all of it in the same episode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this episode down into parts so that, so for instance, if I talk about Assassination Classroom, it'll be a bite-sized listen. We're all about experimenting here at This Is Not What I Meant. So, yeah, before I get into any of that, before I talk about, the shows. So, Twice Upon an Anime is obviously a continuation of Once Upon an Anime. In the sense that, in the sense that Doraemon, Shinchan, shows like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z were definitely the shows that were, the entry point for us into the anime world. And once upon them, see what I did there? Once upon them, viewing them as cartoons, I'm doing air quotes here, we segue into the adult anime shows mostly that we watch now, or at least I do. Yeah, this was one point that came up a lot. Is anime cartoon? No, it is not. It is not cartoon. It's a primary form of storytelling, all that jazz from Japanese animation. I talked about it in my previous episode. And, talking about Death Note itself. Last episode, I told you guys about the plot and what the concept of the show is. Kind of single person play God. Who decides who should be punished? What is justice even? Big themes. But then there's a lot of murder in this show. The show literally has the word death in it. What else do you expect? And the animation, woof! Ryuk, the Shinigami, is one good-looking dude. He is horrifying. He's not good-looking. He's horrifying, but he's horrifying, and it's cool that he is. He's a Shinigami and the god of death. Okay. I trip on when I talk about Ryuk. Yeah, so the animated media certainly lends a much creative space when it comes to showing gory stuff. Like in Attack on Titan, there are these freaks that are eating other people, ripping off their arms, legs, and there's so much bloodshed. People die in multiples of 10 at a time. But it's beautifully picturized. The animation is amazing. And while there is this fact, then there is also the fact that there is a lot of fan service going on in animes. I mean, what is up with that? And what I mean by fan service is the tacky technique a lot of animes employ to retain their primarily male audience, be it sexualization of schoolgirls, balloony breasts. And that is a phrase I never thought I'd say. Balloony breasts, what's up with that? Oh my god, that was a pun unintended. Nothing is up with that. So yeah, I mean, super cinched waists, like, do they even have ribs? And what? And a lot of, timid bullshit for some reason. It doesn't serve any purpose to the plot, and, it doesn't serve any purpose for the storyline, for the character to be so hyper-sexualized like that. I know you would, if you're gonna refute me on this, you'd go like, no, that's body shaming. And I normally agree, but when all the female characters look like that in a show, and and somehow the stuff lands on their breasts for some reason, it is fan service. Okay, you can't, it is fan service. And stuff like this definitely alienates female viewers of the show because it's not just how they're physically represented, it's also that they're not given much powerful, deep, complex roles as well. The women are one-dimensional. Yep, I'm talking about you, Misa Amane. They're shallow, and it's not cool when you really pay attention to this difference. And I have to take note that not all animes are like that, but the ones that have this kind of fan service. I mean, there are positive as well. Well, not to the fan service, but it's just for those animes which use it as a tactic. I mean, let's focus on the story, guys. Yeah, I mean, people watching it for fan service, just go watch hentai. Just don't. Yeah, talking about the storylines, right? Anime has storylines from some of the most basic to the most complex ones ever. Slice of life animes like Psyche or crazy shows like Kakegurui may not have a good storyline, but they're definitely fun to watch. And then there are shows which you should only watch for their plot. Like Death Note, such a fucking interesting concept. Attack on Titan, it's all the rage right now, Attack on Titan. I mean, what with the manga closing up and the show being in its final season, and AOT is it's amazingly well mapped out. And then there is Assassination Classroom. I'm going to talk about this one in a little detail. And yeah, so the plot of these shows are amazingly complex, and the writers really do their work when it comes to connecting the story, when it comes to story representation and how to connect backstories and flashbacks. And anime as a media of storytelling definitely provides that creative space for them to be as what am I gonna say, as intricate and interconnecting stories that they can tell through the media. Yeah. And there are some running themes that are common to most animes as well. Yeah, so one of such themes is friendship. Now, animes show people having some of the most loyal friends, ride or die colleagues, and it's all very heartwarming to watch. Especially as an adult, it reminds you to be kind, and it speaks a lot about Japanese culture as well. I read an article, as I was researching for why the writers focus a lot on friendship, and it stems from the fact that while it's not easy to make friends with the Japanese, I mean, they're not into the fast friend culture that is predominant in the West, where you meet someone one night and you get insanely close, you have heart-to-heart conversations, it's all very Hollywood. But it's not the case in Japan, it's not easy to make a friend over a night. People are sincere, they're good colleagues, but they just don't open up like that. But once you do make a friend, you'd be sure to know that they're going to be your friend for life. And this is represented well in the animes. So yeah, that was why people love watching these shows, because they provide definitely, as I talked about, the plot, and then difficult concepts as well. And coming up ahead would be, I would be talking about some of the shows that I watched, and they would be like bite-sized episodes, so that you can listen. Okay, if I'm curious about this show, like click on this one or click on that one. If I'm going to talk about gambling, if gonna talk about some show that's going to be Orwellian as fuck, so click on that. And then definitely there is concept, then there is storytelling, then there is music. Oh my god, the music is amazing. They do some of the greatest work ever with their opening theme songs. And while it seems very metal in some cases, like Death Note's theme song, the second seasons, I guess. There is no second season. I mean, the part 2 theme song, it's called What Up People. It's like, what up people? It's crazy. And then there are shows like, I've talked a lot about Tokyo Ghoul's Unravel, but how the person says like, oh, she get there, so no, she could. And it's like, I don't know what the lyrics is, but that falsetto at the at the top, it's amazing. So the OST is amazing in these shows, and I'm running out of adjectives, so I'm gonna wrap this short episode up about Twice Upon an Anime, which is my take on the first time I watched anime versus the second time I got into this genre again with Death Note and other shows. So the shows that I'm gonna be talking about are Kakegurui, Assassination Classroom, Psycho-Pass, Dr. Stone, Attack on Titan. Yeah, that's 5 shows, I guess. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna talk about. I did think about talking about Tokyo Ghoul as well, but let's face it, it's very hyped, right? If I get the time, I'll talk about it. I mean, I'm just crazy. So the next episode is gonna be on Kakegurui. I can't wait to do this episode. I've seen the show twice, and it's gonna be awesome. Okay, so that okay, I'm too excited, right? So that wraps it up for this episode of This Is Not What I Meant. I'm Anudeep Patel, and yep, you have to keep listening now because I gave you an introduction. Yeah, okay. Right, okay. Next episode is going to be on Kakegurui, and thank you for listening.